Hi friend, welcome back to my kitchen. If YouTube brought you here, welcome. My name is Stacy, and around here I create quick, easy, delicious, affordable meals. Well, you know it's gonna be a good day when Betty's on the counter. If you're new around here, you may not know that I have a slight obsession with my Crockpot. I say it all the time, and I love it so much that I gave her a name. She's my kitchen helper, and I named her Betty. So if you ever hear me talk about Betty, that's who I mean. She's the ultimate kitchen helper, right? Well, I love crockpots and I love making crockpot recipes. I have many on my channel, but sometimes they can be a little heavy. They have a lot of those butter and cheeses and all of those delicious things. But I decided to challenge myself this week. I wanted to know if I could make lightened up lunches in my crockpot. So what do you say? Why don't you tell me how I did this week? Let's get to it. Here's what we're going to need for our Southwest quinoa. We need our quinoa. Now here I'm going to do a half of a cup. You can see on the back of this package that a serving size is a quarter cup. So it's basically double the serving size. But by doubling the serving size, then I also get 12 grams of protein and 6 grams of fiber. So it's a good one. This is the white quinoa that I'm using, but there is a different version. I think it's like a tri-colored, was also at my store as well. So, but I'm gonna go with the white here, and I'm gonna do a half of a cup. And now we're gonna pair that with veggie broth. Now this is a cup, so you're gonna basically do 2 times whatever your measurement is. So if you're only gonna do a quarter cup of the quinoa, then you would do a half of a cup of the veggie broth. I'm doing this with veggie broth, but you could also do chicken or beef as well. Whatever is in your pantry or refrigerator will work here. I just have the Better Than Bouillon veggie base. I always have it in my refrigerator, so that's what I'm gonna use for this one. Then we're gonna have a tablespoon of diced onion and bell pepper and a teaspoon of diced jalapeno. And then you can see this is fresh out of my freezer. I have 2 tablespoons of corn, 2 tablespoons of black beans. Now let's talk seasonings. Here we have garlic, onion, cumin. I have 1/4 teaspoon of each one of those. And then I have 1/8 of a teaspoon of the chipotle. Now the chipotle powder is a little spicy, so if you just want to go in with a pinch, you can do a pinch. But I find even as a spice wimp that 1/8 of a teaspoon here is fine because we're going to have it with that 1 cup of broth. Alrighty, into the crock pot it goes. Now I am going to spray it with a little bit of avocado oil spray just so it doesn't stick to the sides because it is going to absorb all of this broth, and so I just want to make sure that we don't have any sticking to the side. So we'll just spray that. And then everything is just a set and forget, right? Or a dump and go. Either one of those terms works here. Now, you may see this wedge of lime. I'm not going to use that wedge of lime until the end. So we're just going to have that off to the side. In goes my veggie broth. In goes my quinoa. My spices. Make sure we get all of the spices in there. There we go. Our peppers and onions. And black beans and corn. You can omit these. You don't have to use them at all. Basically, whatever you have in your freezer will work here. All of those go in. Give it a quick stir. And we're going to cook this on high for 2 hours, but you can also cook this on low for 4. It's done when all of your liquid is absorbed and your quinoa is tender. So I'll see you back here in 2 hours. 2 hours later, here we are. Will you fog up? That's the question. Oh, just a little. Now you can see the quinoa, the veggie broth has all been absorbed and it looks so good. I am gonna go ahead and hit this with just that wedge of lime just to brighten everything up. And I also have some avocado and a little diced tomato that you could add to it. I happen to have it in my refrigerator, so I'm just gonna use it up. This is great warm or even cold too. You can do this the day before as well if you wanted to do it as a meal prep. Here we go. You have the peppers and onions and jalapenos, black beans and corn. Now we're just gonna top it with a little bit of the avocado and the diced tomatoes. Let's dive in here for the perfect bite, shall we? A little quinoa, some corn, black beans, that avocado. Okay, I think it's cooled off enough for me to finally try that perfect bite. Here we go. Bon appetito. That is really good. The black bean and the corn, oh, it's so good. I do think you need the freshness of the avocado on top. It really does help. Now, you know I'm a spice wimp. My family loves spice. I can't do spice. But just that little bit of chipotle is perfect. It flavors it with no heat. So definitely try this one. It's really good. I think you'll like it. Let's make beef and broccoli. How about it? And we're gonna have it over some cauliflower rice. So here is what we're gonna need for our beef and broccoli over cauliflower rice. We need about a half to a cup of cauliflower. The same goes for your broccoli. Then we need to have some beef, of course. This is 0.42 pounds, so it's a little less than half a pound. And it was just a flat iron steak that I got from Walmart. So you need a half pound of beef. Then you have a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger and garlic and 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. Now, I don't have any salt for a seasoning because we're using soy sauce. And even though we're using a low sodium soy sauce, I don't think this dish needs any additional salt. So just ginger, garlic, and pepper. As I said, soy sauce, and we need equal portions of brown sugar to soy sauce. So here we have 2 tablespoons of brown sugar to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Then, because I have it, I'm gonna use some diced onions and bell pepper. Alrighty, the first thing I have to do is I have to cut this steak into strips. 2 things to note here. I did fail to mention that we need a teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. We need that as well. Now, on to the beef. You can see this flat iron steak is really a lean piece of meat. So when we go to cut this or slice it thinly, we want to make sure we go against the grain. So you can just kind of look around to see which way the grain goes on the beef, and you want to make sure you cut it in the opposite direction. That will keep it tender. Now I'm going to slice this up and I'll be right back. Now I have my beef all thinly sliced and put into the crock pot. I'm going to add the sauce. So that is that teaspoon of rice wine vinegar, our ginger, garlic, and black pepper, the soy sauce, and the brown sugar. And we'll just stir all of this together. It really is better if you can marinate it for a little bit. I just don't have time today to leave this in the marinade, so I am gonna go ahead and just leave it just like this. It will still be delicious, I promise. So to this, now we're gonna add our peppers and our onions. Make sure we get all of that. and our broccoli. So put that down right inside and we'll give it just a quick stir. Now with our cauliflower, we're gonna just want to rest that right on top because at the end of our cooking time, we're gonna pull this cauliflower out and chop it very finely to make cauliflower rice. So we don't wanna mix it all in there so that it would get lost in the bottom. So now we just top our beef and broccoli with our cauliflower chunks. I'm gonna cook this on high for 2 hours because I'm gonna have it for lunch, but it works great on low for 4 to 6 hours as well, either or. I'm gonna put this in my crock pot, cover it, cook it on high, and I'll see you back here in 2 hours. It's been 2 hours, and the smell of this one when I came in this morning from tennis, oh my goodness, if the smell is any indication, we're gonna have a great lunch today, friend. Alrighty, so we have the cauliflower that's been resting on top, and we're gonna take the cauliflower out and just set it off to the side. Now to rice this, you have a couple options. You can just chop it up finely. You can run it through your food processor, one of those, if you've been a cook for a while and you know the Pampered Chef had the ones that you could like hit on the top, those food choppers. If you have a food chopper, that works. I'm just gonna take this cauliflower out and I'm just gonna chop it finely. So first we have, in a bowl, we'll just put our cauliflower rice. I'll just use the same tongs for both. The downside of cauliflower rice is it does make a mess. It gets everywhere. It's kind of like panko breadcrumbs, right? When you use panko breadcrumbs and they get everywhere. Cauliflower rice is the same way for me. And now we have that beef and broccoli. Now remember, this cooked on high for 2 hours. What do you think? Will you try this one, friend? Now I just had to go in and grab with a little measuring cup some of that yummy liquid, the sauce down at the bottom. Yum. Let's give this a taste. Let's try it. Bon appetit. Remember, we didn't even marinate this meat. I think because we sliced it so thinly that it's so tasty. Oh, wow. There's no need to marinate this, friend. You're gonna love this one. This ravioli with butternut squash is all made from pantry and freezer staples. It is so easy to double and it has so many substitutions and variations. It really is for everyone. So let's start with our ingredients. First up, our squash. Now these are from the freezer section. I'm making 1 serving, so a serving size. 1 serving is 2/3 of a cup, so I have 2/3 of a cup here. Our ravioli is going to be the same way. This is a cheese ravioli. If we flip it over to the back, we see 1 serving size is 10 pieces. And again, I'm cooking it for myself, so I have 10 pieces of ravioli here. Super easy, adjust your measurements as needed. I also have 1/4 pound of Italian sausage. Now here, you could substitute mushrooms if you wanted to do this meat-free. You could substitute ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef. It is absolutely your choice. Now I have 1/4 cup of vegetable broth, but again, if you're using ground chicken and you want to do a chicken broth, that works perfectly as well. Our seasoning is going to be 1/8 teaspoon of salt, pepper, and rubbed sage. Now, if you are lucky enough to have the sage leaves, you can just throw 2 of those in here and it would be perfect. But I don't have any, so I'm gonna go with the rubbed sage here. And then finally, I have a tablespoon of walnuts. Again, substitutions. You can swap with pecans, with almonds, whatever you think. I really like the walnuts here, but whatever the nut is of your choice, leave them out if you don't like nuts. Again, so versatile. Each of these pats of butter, 3 of these pats equals 1 tablespoon of butter. When I write the recipe, I'm gonna write 1 to 2 tablespoons of butter. So if you need to watch your butter intake, then just stick with 1 tablespoon of butter. Our veggie broth is gonna go down inside of our crock pot. And now we're just gonna layer it. So we have those 10 cheese raviolis. So I'll put 5 on the bottom. Then I'm gonna come in with a pat or 2 of butter. And now we have our seasoning here. And honestly, if I was not doing this for you guys, I would probably just sprinkle it straight out of the jar. Just kind of eyeball it. But for the recipe and for you guys, I will do actual measurements. Now we're just gonna come in with our sausage, do a little bit of our sausage, a little bit of our butternut squash, some of our walnuts. And now we do it all over again. Raviolis go in. The rest of our sausage. The rest of our butternut squash. Our walnuts. And I think I'm gonna go in with just 2 of these pats of butter maybe. So that's about 1.5 tablespoons of butter. The rest of our seasonings. And the rest of our vegetable broth. Now this is gonna get covered and you can either cook this on high for 2 hours or low for 4 hours, but I'm gonna check this at the 1.5 hour mark just to see if it needs a little bit more time. It may be ready in 1.5 hours because remember, all we need to do is just make sure that our butternut squash is tender and our raviolis are cooked through. Alrighty friends, it's been 1.5 hours, so let's see what we're working with. I have my meat thermometer here and I'm just gonna kind of see what the temperature is. We might be good after 1.5 hours, friends. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think that's plenty. I think we're ready to eat, friend. Now that we're back over here at the cutting board, let's serve this up. And I'm gonna try to speak, but I have to admit my mouth is watering. So, oh my goodness, it smells so good. Now I did grab one thing out of my refrigerator. I did grab some Parmesan cheese, but again, we are still using pantry and refrigerated staples here and freezer. But how good does that look? I'm just gonna hit it with just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And dinner is served. Alrighty, let's dive in for the perfect bite. I think I'll take that one with the big Parmesan piece on top. A little bit of that cheese ravioli. Little sausage, a little walnut. You need the Parmesan cheese. The walnuts, even if you think you're not a fan of walnuts, still get it. Still try it. It's fabulous with the walnuts. In an hour and a half, friend. And you can have all of this in your freezer. Yummy. Well, friend, what do you think? Did you find a lightened up recipe to try? I hope that you did. Isn't it nice to know that our Crockpot can bring us yummy, cheesy comfort food, and it can also give us a lightened up version of a recipe as well. If you try any of these recipes, let me know down below in the comments section. Be sure to check that description box. In the description box will be the link to the printable version of these recipes and also the link to my Amazon shop where you can get your very own 2-quart Crockpot. You need one in your kitchen, friend. I hope you enjoy these recipes and I hope you have a fabulous day, friend. I'll see you soon. Bye.